Hello everyone, hope you're doing really well. It's been a while since I made a video and I was drawn to make one today for a particular reason, because I sense a lot of major psychological rewiring going on. I've noticed that within myself, and I also know within the collective and the group of people that I'm speaking to, that there's a lot of reflection going on. There's a lot of analyzing where you are today, where we are today, and where we're going. And I do believe that it's calling upon us to look at our behavior patterns. I know myself that I've been looking at where I am today compared to 8 years ago, and I'm finding that I'm in a very, very similar situation in my personal life. I'm in a different location, but I'm in a virtually identical situation. And I think many commentators will say about the 8-year cycle, what happened in 2008 is happening again in 2016. And I can safely say that it seems that way, particularly here in my life. And I also look at a cycle 5 years ago where I was, and again it was similar to 8 years ago, except I was preparing 5 years ago for my next adventure, which was to Moscow, where I met my beloved. And this time 5 years ago I was in the process of getting my visa and preparing for my job in Russia, and I was leaving behind at that time my daughters. 8 years ago I began living with my daughters, and my whole situation around abundance had changed dramatically. And this pattern has repeated itself again now, this abundance situation. That's a blessing, and that's a blessing. It's very welcomed, and I find myself very busy doing other things. I'm writing a lot, writing for other people, which is great. It means I'm now standing up in my own light and my own power and working for myself. Previously I worked for other people. I've been other people's mouthpieces, other people's messenger. Even as a CEO, we're shareholders' messengers or owners of companies' messengers, and we're not necessarily speaking our truth. But what I'm doing these days is speaking my truth. I'm using my words to create words for other people to read, but they're coming from my heart. My business is my business, and I don't have anybody else that I need to report to. So in that way and in that regard, I've progressed, which is great. I no longer have to listen to other people's chatter and nonsense and doing things how they perceive them to be when I'm the person in the field. Right now I'm able to express my views and my opinion and my interpretation of what's needed to be said, and that's cool, that's great. I also know that recently my two daughters have grown tremendously. They're overcoming conflict within each other. They're trying to understand each other, and me being dad is trying to let them see things from a different perspective, to stop holding on to the past pains and hurts and what's happened previously, and just trying their best to look at today, not look at yesterday or tomorrow, but just to live in the here and now. And that's very difficult for a child or a teenager to get used to, is living in today, here and now, because they have their dreams, they have their ideologies, they have their ways of communicating, and I can see how much social media entraps children. It really does entrap them, and it puts them into this cocoon of false security. And you know, there have been times where tensions have risen, tempers have blown, and we've got angry with each other. And over the past 2 weeks this has changed to a more subtle and more deeper understanding of the situation, and listening and responding instead of reacting. And this is an ongoing process throughout our lives. And as our psyche rewires to progress into the new, it's sometimes a challenge for what we're doing, and why we're doing it, and how we're doing it, and how we're going to get there. And what I try to teach is just to allow things to flow. Try not to control the path that you're on. Just meander and navigate. And the answers will come. The answers will come fairly quickly once you release this control aspect. And as soon as you try to grab onto control or try to control the situation, you'll find that it becomes stressful or tense, and you become frustrated with the outcome. So my strong recommendation is to try and focus on your breath, to stop the mind clutter, to release this constant thought process. And I know that's easier said than done, because even I, who was a great thinker, still have sometimes difficulty in trying to stop this mind chatter. And you know, the last 2 days, I know that I have been processing a lot of information, a lot of re-exploration of old patterns, of old situations, and I'm comparing them to today. What am I doing today? Is there something that I'm doing today that I have done before, and the outcome is the same? Am I trying to control an outcome to a situation to my benefit instead of allowing a natural outcome to be developed? And I can also attribute the mind chatter to recently communicating with my beloved as another trigger mechanism. You know, there's this philosophy that twins come together, or they reach out to each other in times of need and in times of healing. You know, we will interact, and we will literally have something to say to one another that triggers a healing, or triggers the other to respond in a way that allows them to look at themselves in the mirror. And whilst the discussion was not about life or about us two, it was about working together, and working together on some projects that are coming my way in the near future. And what I extracted from that was the compassion and the empathy that we share between us to working together, and the desire to work together. The trust level is unquestionable. The faith in each other to be able to deliver what we say we're going to deliver is unquestionable. I can't say that the romantic connection was there, because I don't believe that this journey is about romance. It's about what you are able to contribute to each other's lives in a way that is service to humanity, service to community, service to one another. And if we recognize that one is not, dependence is the wrong word, that you can't achieve a certain thing without involving the other, because the two in combination are able to achieve far more than what one can do. And I believe that's the underlying journey for twins, is being able to find a way to work together, whether it's physically or in cooperation in a project, or in having common goals and objectives, and sharing these ideas between one another. And you absorb precious information. Your subconscious mind absorbs, your soul absorbs more than your mind will absorb from any conversation or any interaction with your beloved, or anybody for that matter. And it causes triggers. And I know that I've been thinking a lot over the last 48 hours about that situation. I know that the objective is work, and I know that that work will be done properly. And I've stopped this, I suppose, yearning for more. It's appreciating what we have, appreciating who they are for what they are, and not criticizing or laying blame or anything derogatory towards them. They are who they are. Everybody is unique. Everybody has a purpose in life. Whether it's as a twin, as a soul, every soul has a purpose. And there's no such thing as coincidence. We interact with people for a reason. There's something that they have to give, or we have to give them. And we will take from it what we take from it. And in my situation, I don't really worry anymore about what's going on and why it's happening. It's simply happening. And it's appreciating that. Yes, the mind will trigger off and go on its own merry way. And then we have to bring it back to reality. We have to bring it back to the here and now. What does thinking about tomorrow or the next day serve us, unless it's planning a project that needs to be planned? But with regard to our personal life, we just need to simply walk through it and flow through it, meander through it, just like a ship sailing in the night on autopilot, or a plane. Soon there will be cars that will drive us around everywhere, and there won't be any driver, just be coordinates, and it will find its own path. And this is, that's technology driven. If technology is driving its way forward in that way, we will soon be driven around without drivers. So this is a mindset that we need to get used to. When you're flying in the air with on your holidays or anywhere, the pilot's not sitting in the plane flying all the journey. He's relying on autopilot. When you're driving your car, you rely on GPS. The only thing is you are driving. You're in control of the vehicle. But in an aircraft, on a ship, they're relying on computers to take them where they're from point A to point B. Only then does man intervene when there's something that needs to be intervened with. And this is, if we look at that, if this is what technology is doing, then we should be able to do that ourselves. If man is creating this driverless car or driverless aircraft or whatever, we too should be adapting to that, because this time will come when we will be driven around without a driver. Now we should take that as a sign of taking control of ourselves and taking away the thought process involved in getting from point A to point B. And that's all new, that's all alien to us. And it is about letting go of control, letting go of the control of the situation, which is really pure faith. Your actions will trigger a reaction. What you put out will come back. It's a law of attraction. So if we can let go of this sheer control aspect of our lives and fully surrender to the outcome, we will find ourselves living maybe in a little bit of turmoil for a few weeks or a few months, adjusting. But after that, it becomes a smooth process. We'll come across situations and we'll be able to handle them differently. And this rewiring, I know it's preparing us for the new. The new is most definitely coming. I'm 100% sure that what happens tomorrow is going to be something new and completely different. We're going to be living different lives. If we can switch off the mind clutter, and the mind clutter is not just our own minds, it's the external forces, the gossip merchants, the media outlets, the way that these people control us, and let that go. Nobody controls us. We control ourselves. We are our own gods. We're the masters of our own destiny. And by taking that control and responsibility, accepting full responsibility for the outcome of everything that we do, and not blaming Peter, Piper, or Anna or Shirley, or aunt or auntie, mum or dad, or child. Accept responsibility. We are the masters of our own destiny. And when we accept that, we are in full control. We're in full control of the outcome, no matter whether it's positive or negative. We're just navigating. If there were no negatives, we wouldn't be learning. And learning to think with a fifth dimensional consciousness is what this journey is about. We're pulling 5D down to 3D. You'll hear some people mention that we're already in a 5D society. We're not anywhere near a 5D society. The Earth is not in the fifth dimension at all. It's coming, but it's not here. But what we're doing in the meantime is bringing that fifth dimensional consciousness down into our reality and living it in purity, without distraction, and with full purpose and meaning, knowing that what we're doing is of pure source energy. It's love, it's light. And that's what this is all about. We're going back 50 years to the hippie revolution. And this is what we should welcome, this is what we should embrace. Because love is beautiful. Loving yourself is the most beautiful thing that you can have. And knowing that that is love, without any conditions. We have to accept who we are for what we are. That's unconditional love. But many of us are unable to accept that. But that's the first task, is to accepting that you are what you are, and you are who you are. And you have to love it, which is why I say in some of my teaching is look in the mirror. Take a snapshot. Because that's you. That's who you are. And learn to love that. Learn to love that image. And then you will change your whole mindset. So, be aware the rewiring is going on. You've got a new moon coming up on Tuesday or Wednesday, the 8th of March, or the 9th of March, depending where you are. 8th of March for me because I'm in Europe. You've got an eclipse happening on the 9th of March. And you've also got some other stuff going on in the end of March also. The equinox or something. I don't know. I don't really follow astrology, but I know that that's what's going on. So the energies are supporting change. And the planetary aspects that, if you're looking at a high quality astrologer, not listening into future predictions about what you are and who you are, but looking at the planets and where they are and the definitions and meanings behind that, you'll see the universe is working in your favor. It's us that are resisting. The universe is pulling us to cleanse ourselves and to purge that doesn't serve us. That's full surrender. Have a great day. Take care. Namaste.